Hey everyone, Chris here. Hope you guys are all staying healthy during this coronavirus outbreak. Got back from Vegas. It's Thursday, 4 days ago, and I cleaned my M3, but I got my buddy Kyle Rush's M3 who gets down and dirty in the snake, and I asked if I could make a video for you all showing how I clean and maintain the M3, and of course he said yeah, because he's my boy. So I got rags, I got a little damp cloth, I got all my toolkit, so I thought I would take advantage of this opportunity and show you all how I maintain the M3. You guys haven't seen this yet. I teased a picture, but I haven't shown you guys in a video yet. These are our House of Ground M3 pluses that we had made through dye. We did, first time ever, sign a contract with a paintball company, and it was dye, so now we're tied in for 2 years, which I'm super excited about. As you all know, I've been a huge fan of dye, and it truly is like a privilege and like a goal of mine that I've had since like 2004 to represent the dye brand. So big shout out to them. Anyway, I'm gonna bring the camera in, got all my tools and everything here. It's just they're pretty easy to maintain, very similar to the DSR, but just a little bit more unique. A little more things you have to pay attention to. And let's stop talking and get right into it. So I'm going to bring the camera down. I'm going to try to angle it so it faces this way. I might have to turn the footage around, like upside down. I don't know. 1 second. Alright, this will hopefully work. I had to change spots. There's a nasty shadow coming down. Anyway, this is Rush's M3. Comes with all the goodies that you guys have seen. This is a maintenance video, so I wanted to just focus on this. Let's get this put aside. Alright, so here she is. Let me throw this down real quick. Here's the HGM3. She's a beaut. This was designed by me and the boys that died. Devin, shout out to you for helping me figure this out. It's pretty simple. Nice little Easter egg right there with the Minnesota logo on the rear cap. This isn't the stock trigger. He likes this style trigger, so I just 3D printed him one for him. The stock trigger is red. It matches this. I'm so happy to finally have this ASA. I've been waiting for that on the DSR, but this gun is awesome, so it's good to have it on there. And yeah, the other side is the same thing. I wanted the silver and black and red because I like those colors. Like even the speed knife having the red on the inside. This looks really cool to me. Yeah, I like it. Alright, well, so I'm going to start off by removing the grips. If you guys don't know how to do that, basically there's you can probably see right here. There's a little piece that kind of hooks. You see that? Shadow. There, you kind of see it there. It's got kind of a hook to it, so what it does is it comes in and like hooks around the frame here, and you basically just have to like pull this out and pull the teeth that are hooked around the bottom part of the frame. This thing is gross. So when I maintain my M3, this is how I start. I'm going to end up rinsing these off. So I was going to use this damp micro, but these are worse than I thought. This little front sleeve just pops off like so, and now I just start disassembling it. You don't need to do this every time. This is just something I do. You know, it takes an extra, I don't know, 3 minutes to do it this way versus just maintaining the bolt, which is really all that it needs. But you know, if I'm going to go through the effort of maintaining, I'm going to do it right. That includes taking off the body from the frame and whatever else. So, okay, so when you pull out the bolt, this is my biggest gripe about the M3 is the way the bolt comes out. But I like to push on it a little bit. See my finger through the breech there? So when you depress the button, you want to give it a little press through the breech. And that'll help. See how that came out nice and easy? This gun's been sitting since we got back from Vegas. Normally, you know, you push the button and you pull and it get kind of stuck. But if you push the button, you kind of aid it a little bit by pressing on the bolt. See how easy that came out? super easy. And then when I take it out, there's this air channel in here that I don't want to hit my can on it, so I'm very carefully, I'll like remove it and twist at the same time, and then right here is where it catches. See how this is wiggling now? Again, it's just OCD, but you want to make sure you catch those O-rings and not the can. So see how that's coming out nice and straight? If you're not careful, you can catch that air chamber, and you can end up, you know, dinging the hell out of your can here. It doesn't affect the gun at all, it's just cosmetic, and I like my stuff to be as perfect as it can be. So that's just my OCD chiming in. So I'm going to take this apart. Put this to the side for now. This little back stem comes off of the can, and the guide bolt comes out. Just like so. And this all comes apart. So that's all your bolt is. Very simple. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe these parts down. These are just filled with paint and lube and dirt, whatever else he dives in. Sometimes if you, at national events, sometimes it's pretty hectic, so you have to load paint very quick, especially if you don't have staff. Luckily we did it in Vegas. But sometimes dirt and debris can get inside those tubes, which you end up putting into your gun. This O-ring right here is a little tricky to get to with a rag. You can either try to shove it in there like so and grab it on the other end. So hang on, if I can get that in there, just pull that through and just make sure all the grease and dirt get off of that inner O-ring that's right inside of here. Wipe off the bolt again of any debris. I always take a Q-tip, clean the inside of the bolt. It's not necessary, but I mean, very first time we ever had paint issues, everybody was having paint issues at Vegas that I saw. ProShar, GI, usually we shoot Evil. I don't know why we shot GI this time, but we were having some issues on Saturday. All three of our lines, it was nuts. So needless to say, these guns need to be cleaned. Same thing with the can. I just shove my micro through there and get it nice and clean. Same thing with the eye pipe. This is the only thing between the paint and your eyes. So you gotta make sure that's nice and clean. Since I removed the feed net collar, I'm just gonna wipe that off real quick. This gun's not as dirty as mine, surprisingly. Okay. So now this is a little unnecessary, but I'm going to do it because I'm going to break the gun down for him. You probably put quite a bit of shots through it. Yeah, 22,000 shots. So he shots. Is that right? Did I read that right? That's a lot of paint. No, I was reading that wrong. Almost 10,000 shots. I did the wrong one. So that's 5 cases. It being a brand new gun, it wasn't. I don't think it was. I think I lubed it actually before we started playing. Anyway, it needs to be maintained. I like to maintain my guns every time I play. It's a good practice. This part that I'm doing right now is not necessary, but I want the gun to be clean for rush, so I'm gonna get to this level. Y'all can watch parts of this video and use whatever snippet you want to maintain, whether it's just the bolt or just the rag or the whole thing like I'm doing. I would suggest doing the whole thing just because it makes the gun perform the best that it can. So those are the 2 screws that hold on the body to the frame. Right there, and then this just slides off like that. Devin, if you're watching this is gun number 4 that this screw is loose. That's another reason why I take these things apart like this, because it gives you an opportunity to make sure everything's nice and tight. So make sure these solenoid screws are tight. Which they are now. Then you can take your semi-damp micro and just wipe everything down. Okay, and now I'm gonna put that to the side. It took me a little bit to figure out how to take this ASA apart, but I'll do that for you guys right now real quick, just so you can see, in case you ever get shot in the ASA, which we all do. It's very easy to take apart. So you just pull, depress it like you were to degas it, and there's a real small little piece right here. Hopefully that's picking up, but basically you press that in. See how that's pressing in? So as you press that in, that will then allow you to basically slide the cap off. And from there you can remove the main ASA if you need to. If you all are buying this ASA for your M2s or M3Ss, that's how you install it. She's a dirty girl. Yeah, this is just getting off the dirt that's on the surface that doesn't belong there, dirt and paint. So then to remove this, I think I just removed this screw. I'm not going to do it, even though it wouldn't hurt anything. But I don't want to get, starting a project that I don't want to finish. But I'm pretty sure I removed this screw here, and then that'll pop out like a spring and a little ball that holds this in. If I had to guess. Alright, but we'll worry about that later. I just wanted to get the cleanup done on this, because there's really not much to maintain inside this ASA. Got a couple O-rings in there, but nothing like the regulator or the bolt. Okay, put that to the side. Alright, so this part is going to be the regulator. Now, like the battery compartment for the DSR, I found that this die multi-tool fits perfectly inside of where the regulator is. So you could take like an Allen key or a screwdriver and ding the absolute hell out of this piece. But if you just use this rounded part on your die multi-tool that comes with your gun, you shove it in there, it fits perfectly. So all I'm doing is unthreading this. If I wasn't filming, I would keep it on here and just rotate the gun like this. I guess I can do that, alright. And this will pop out the cartridge. I haven't been able to figure out how to get to this little bushing yet. That's not too important. I'll have Dye show me. I was going to have him show me it in Vegas, but I got sidetracked. Okay, so you pop this out like so. Give it a little wiggle. And the piston and spring are in here. I did notice when I did one of my buddy's M3s before that piston's in there quite a bit. So I always keep this little needle nose pliers that has, hopefully it'll focus, that has 0 teeth on it. Let's see here. There. See, there's no teeth on this. It's just basically like a, what do you call it, like a hobbyist pliers. Reach in there, grab the piston. Easy as that. Get everything on the outside of the wipe. This thing is caked. Take my little, whatever this is, a Q-tip. Try to pick up as much of the debris. I mean, this was a clean Q-tip on this side. See, so like national events and stuff like that, stuff does get dirty, so you can, come on. Alright, well, take my word for it, this Q-tip has some crud on it. that I'm happy we got out of here. There's some more crud, if you can see that. Give that a wipe down, put it to this up right here so you guys can see it. Taking my same, I'll take my dry micro actually, and wipe down this O-ring and the piston, or head I guess you can call it. Get all the lube and junk off of there, wipe down the cartridge. So there's some way to get access within here. I'm pretty positive I take an Allen wrench, or not an Allen wrench, what am I saying, just like a normal wrench, grab onto this, grab onto that, and that will allow me to loosen, I believe, this side, but I don't know how to get to this. So for now, Rush, I'm just gonna take a little Q-tip and try to get some of the paint out of there for you. Alright. And now I'm going to put everything back together. Oops, a little dirt right here. I should come out with like some black ones of these back pieces. I noticed mine flaked off pretty quick too. Oh well. Okay, so when you lube your DSR or your M3, I mean, you know, you should use the same lube as on your M3 as you would on the DSR, which is this new dye slick lube. This is about the M3. I'm just bringing up the DSR because this lube compared to this older lube makes a pretty big difference for the DSR. So if you can, go get yourself a couple tubes of this new stuff. It makes a big difference, especially in the colder weather. That's the only time I ever have any issues with spool valve guns is in the cold weather. That goes for anything, not just dye. Okay, so I'm going to start with, let's do the regulator. Let's take a little bit of lube, throw it on this here O-ring, make sure it's nice and even. Take a little residual and kind of spread it around nice and evenly. I take a little bit, I always, not chunk up, but make sure the shaft part here is evenly coated. Shove that back in there. If the O-ring looks good, I'm going to throw just a tad bit more on there. Some came off with my finger. Let's reapply it. There we go. Just want to make sure it's not chunky. Shove that back in there. Nice and easy. Goes all the way to the bottom. And then take your spring. I'm just going to put a little bit of residual on there. That drops in. Okay, and then I'm going to take this little black piece of the cartridge. And inside here is your velocity adjuster screw and then the bushing, which I'm not really sure what that bushing does. I'll figure that out and let you guys know. But for now, we'll just maintain these two O-rings. Again, making sure that the lube is evenly coated, not too heavy. And we'll put that back in. That piston goes right inside. Sorry, I'm doing this late at night. The piston goes right inside this hole here. So just want to make sure that's piston, when you put that in there, just make sure that piston is like as vertical as you can get it. Because this is going to drop right down in there. And you'll know when it catches because it'll go down. And using my die multi-tool, I'm going to just tighten this down. And this just gets tightened all the way down till you don't want to torque on it, but you know, tighten it down where it's not gonna budge. And see, then it's not all chewed up either. A little bit of paint in there, but looks good. Okay, next we're gonna work on the bolts. So I always start towards the back. I'm sorry, I start towards the things that I'm not gonna get the lube wiped off of them. So I'm gonna grab this piece right here, can, whatever you want to call it. Make sure I get this number 15 O-ring inside of it, which is that Little orange guy. Try to make sure it's nice and coated, no tears in the O-ring or anything like that. And my fingers are too big to get inside to get this one, so I always do one of these numbers. There's no holes for this loop to kind of fall into, unlike this side. So it's a little bit thicker on that. A little bit more on this 15 here. I tend to see these holes right here. So this O-ring is on the opposite side of this, and sometimes if you put too much on your finger, you can shove the loop through those holes. So I always spread it like in between them. So inside I'm taking my finger and I'm kind of rubbing it on the O-ring like this. So majority of the loop gets between those holes. Otherwise, you don't like see this. You can see the hole. Focus. There you go. Like, see how those holes have some lube caked in them? Like that one's good. That one's good. I don't know. It needs to keep those as clear as you can. I'll do the front can. Same thing, just that 15. I'm just pinching off a little bit as I put it on there. Make a little residual, put it inside the can. So when that's coated, see how it's nice and even. Looks pretty good. Okay, then I'll take the bolt. This has just one O-ring on it. So I'll lube that up with a pretty liberal amount. I'll just take a residual and smear it all over. Shove that in the can. And move on to this little stem shaft deal. You got these two brown O-rings in the back. Make sure it's nice and even. Got this red one in the way rear. In the way rear, that's weird. In the most rear, is that the right word? And this little green on the very back. And I forgot, I gotta do this one too before I put this blue can back on. Got this yellow guy right here and this green one. So once you get that all nice and coated, you want to throw your can on there and put it in the bolt release cap, I guess you can call it. I'm not sure what it's called. You do have to kind of push on it. I don't know if you saw that. The thing kind of came off on me. There's a spring that holds this in. So you just gotta kind of fight it a little bit. All right. What's now? Okay, I gotta do this front O-ring, and then she's basically done. These are the O-rings that the inside of the bolt touch as it slides. So you don't want to cake it by any means, but you want to make sure you get it. And that just goes on like so. Make sure everything is moving properly. Feels good. Okay, so now I'm going to take some extra lube and lube these outer O-rings here. These are just sealing O-rings. They're not, they don't move by any means, but I do make sure they're nice and coated, because when you put it into your gun, that's what slides inside the body. And this camera I'm using is terrible. Overheats and 5-minute recordings. Anyway, get these O-rings all lubed. Should have been using Rush's lube on this. I'm using mine. You're welcome, Rush. And then I can never really get this back one, but I just put whatever I can get my finger in there and get her done. Okay, I'm going to put that to the side. Should have put this body back together first. Okay. I'm going to put this together. This is that O-ring that seals the body and the frame together. Maybe that was in the frame, hopefully it was. And this just goes in as one piece. Just like that. Since I didn't take out the velocity adjusting screw, he's not going to need to adjust his velocity a dramatic amount. You know, sometimes when you get a little to that extent, like when I do my DSR, for example, my regulator, I take the whole thing apart, velocity screw and all. So every time I go to the crown, I set it, you know, where it sort of needs to be, but it's never spot on. So you just have to make sure to remember to adjust that when you go to the field. Make these things just as pretty tight. You don't want the body to come off or any leaks, so you don't need a torque on it either. Remember, you do want to get these screws off eventually to maintain it. Sometimes I would take off this trigger too, just to get some crud behind there. I'll do that real quick since I got it apart. I was taking off this 3D printed screw because it looks like he got shot in the trigger this weekend. I want to get as much of this paint off of there as possible. And he likes this style trigger. Feels pretty good. Not my cup of tea, but feels good. Oops. That's it. Alright. Now I take a little bit of lube, believe it or not, and I put it on the inside of the feed nut collar, because when I want this on there, I don't want it to, you know, I want it to glide smoothly onto this. So like when it does this type of stuff, spin, you know, it's not like gritty and what have you. Same thing with the lever. I always take a little bit of extra, and I'll like rub it on that part and a little bit on this part. That does, you know, catch dirt, but to me that's worth it versus having it I guess not have anything to absorb, if that makes sense. If you guys are into auto detailing, it's like polishing a car. You know, you have a pad, and what's going on here? Well, that's a first. That's been the wrong way. If you have a pad and you're polishing a car, you know, you get dirt and paint and stuff like that into your pad. The polish will hold on to that dirt more than if there was nothing on there. Same thing as like this. This lube will make it nice and smooth and whatever, but it'll hold on. So anyway, you just have to maintain that. Oh, rambling. Okay, so the gun's maintained. I'm just putting her back together right now. The gun's been serviced, I should say, not maintained. Take a little bit of residual, throw it on here, and then just to put this back on, it's the opposite. Press that, she slides right back on. Okay, back in business. Camera overheated. So what I did during that little break is I just cleaned off his grips. But anyway, let me put this thing back together. So the same thing that, you know, when you're taking the bolt out, it's this little air chamber. See if you can see it. See it right at the base there? That's what your can hits. So when you're putting this in, you want to make sure it's nice and straight. You know, be strong with it. Like don't sit here and like move the cap up and down if you can. But give it a nice little twist as you enter or as you insert it. And make sure you're not dinging it up. And I always push the button as I give it that final little push. Okay, and that's basically how I maintain the M3. Put the eye pipe back in, throw my grips back on. When you put these on, you want to make sure that these little tabs go where they belong. There's two tiny little slots. See it right here where my finger is? That's where these little tabs will focus. Alright, I hope that's focus. It's hard to tell. That's where those little tabs slide into. So when you put this on, I always kind of pinch right here just to help guide those in. Otherwise, if you don't, this little tab will be on the outside of it, and it'll just end up warping, and that's no fun. So make sure your little, whatever this, I think this is the wireless deal, make sure that's where it belongs. Put the grips back on. So here's the little, I'm sure you guys have all seen this by now, but these grips have where's the best light here? There. See those 3 nubs? They're little teeth. They have kind of a, like my angle right here, they kind of come like this. Does that make sense? Hopefully. So they bite into these slots like this. So to put the grips on, it's a lot easier than taking them off. I always kind of give a little spread there and get the back top in first, and then just kind of pinch them together. And these last ones, see how they're kind of hanging out? All you gotta do is push back, because that little, see that L looking, or J, whatever you want to call that, shaped plastic piece, that's gotta go into this slot on the frame. So easiest thing to do is just push it back. It kind of goes back and hooks at the same time, just like that. Okay, well, that was a pretty fast rundown of the M3. Let's talk about settings real quick. If you guys have an M3, I would suggest taking or putting the service setting off. We had one this last weekend that was acting a little funky, and then as soon as I turned that off, it was golden. It's almost like it needed to be serviced. You had to tell it that you serviced it, if that makes sense. And then make sure you put your guns, you know, at like the proper balls per second, and I don't want to get into settings actually. But okay, guys. Well, I'm gonna cut the video here. That is the HG M3 Plus, brand new. Just got it for Vegas 2020 NXL. There's a lot of things coming up this year. I think a lot of things that you guys are gonna like. There's some big announcements coming up, some big changes, things coming back. You guys have all seen that, a little teaser pic. But okay, guys. Well, stay healthy. As always, I appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks.